Watch your chair.
These chairs are going to kill us. Hey, we're reconvening back into open session at 6:36 p.m. We're going to move on. We have a productive discussion. Executive session, we're going to move on to administrative items. Item 6.
Bye.
Did you say no action?
Yeah, well, I said we had a productive, there's no action. We're just moving on.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
All right. So 6.1, discussion, consideration, and possible action to accept the resignation of Council Member Kurt Cartheno, place 5, Council Member Rex Clazel, place 4, and declare the positions vacant.
I so move.
Motion by Wilson,
Second.
second by Roberts. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay. Item 7, proclamations and recognitions. Proclamation 7.1, proclamation declaring April 2026 as National Poetry Month in Weimar and setting a poetry open mic night. And we have the proclamation. Those of you who took the pictures, thank you for doing that. That saved you a lot of time. And I will guarantee you it'll be a better picture than what it would have had regardless. All right, proclamation. Whereas the Academy of American Poets established the month of April as National Poetry Month in 1996, and whereas our community and communities across America encourage their citizens, especially students, to develop and improve their proficiency in the expression through poetry format, and whereas National Poetry Month seeks a highlight to extraordinary legacy and ongoing achievement of American poets, introduce Americans to the pleasures and benefits of reading poetry, bring poets and poetry to the public, make poetry an important part of our children's education, and whereas poetry enhances and enriches the lives of all Americans, and whereas poetry as an essential part of the arts and humanities affects every aspect of the life in America today, including education, the economy, and community pride and development, and whereas poetry has introduced some of the nation's leading creative artists and has inspired other artists in fields such as music, theater, film, dance, and the visual arts, and whereas the Weimar Friends of the Library has set up Thursday, April the 23rd as Poetry Open Mic Night in the city of Weimar. The event will take place at 6 p.m. at the Weimar Gazebo on Jackson Square. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Carlton Tucker, Mayor of Weimar, Texas, on behalf of the City Council, do National Poetry Month in the city of Weimar, and I'll urge all public officials, educators, librarians, and citizens of Weimar to observe this month to celebrate the cultural riches and community has to offer and to recognize the important role poetry creates and sustains this great nation with appropriate ceremonies, activities, and programs. Witness thereof and signed on this date, 12 March 2026, Carlton Tucker, Mayor of Weimar. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right. So, item 8, introduction of new employees. None, right, David?
None.
Okay. Item 9, city managers reports. David.
Mayor, Council, this is kind of a summary of what I've been giving you on most Fridays. We have applied for a walking trails grant, and that's in the scoring phase, so we've moved on to the scoring phase. Hopefully we will receive that grant. And once again, that grant is for, this is totally different than on the other projects we're working on. This is a grant for connecting the Hill Park to where the new sports complex would be. Gives additional walking trails there. We got many people that use the walking trails now, and if you don't use the walking trails, I invite you to come on out. There are cameras out there. There's a emergency call box out there. So at least go visit the walking trails if you have time. Michael and his crews have made several repairs, water leaks, closed some loops around town. The electric department has cleared limbs on 253 going out. They spent some time trimming up the trees at the library. Moving on to Trendview subdivision, they're in their final stages of preparing for a closeout meeting. That should be happening soon. We continue to have dirty water complaints. Michael is trying different things to do that. We are waiting on approval from TCEQ to inject the bicarbonate material into our water system. That should be in the near future that we get that approval. The mayor and I have had some pretty productive meetings with TDS and LCRA just to get to know each other. We had some new people with TDS, and some of them hadn't met the mayor yet. So we had some good meetings with those two groups. The police department and Weimar ISD, maybe some other entities I'm sure were involved, put on the Shattered Dreams program at the high school on March 5th. I believe that was very successful, and it's very educational to the students to see that. And my thing here is we are working with the Tavern to resolve some permitting issues. So we are working with them to resolve those issues. I'm in the final stages of closing on the land for well number 11 to move forward on that project. And then finally, we got a demonstration on a Bobcat skid steer with the sweeper attachment, and it works very well. We did take a video of it. I shared it with the council members. That is an action item later on, but I think it'll be very beneficial to the staff, the utilities department. It's a unit. It's not only a street sweeper. It's a unit that can have multiple attachments on it, and they can use it for several jobs. It has wheels instead of tracks like the one we have now, so they can drive it on the street without damaging the tracks. So I think it'll be overall a very good piece of machinery for our guys. That's it as far as that report goes. Next item?
Yes, sir.
So the next item is the finance department. That will be me, pages 10 through 19. Council, I'll let you look over pages 10 through 19. One of the big ticket items I see on page 14 is poles and supplies for the electric department. We had to add some poles to our inventory. In the water department on page 15, Michael and I discussed safety issues at the chlorine room. We have 2 chlorine rooms. So we did purchase Scott Air Pack, and we purchased 1 Scott Air Pack and 2 chlorine monitoring devices. An alarm, they have alarms on them too, so if there's chlorine gas present in the room, it will notify the workers before they go in. And if for some reason an emergency happens, we have the Scott Air Pack that we can then retrieve the injured worker out of that situation. We look forward to getting another Scott Air Pack in the future, so we'll have 1 permanently at each chlorine room. Otherwise, it's pretty standard overall. We did receive 1 hotel motel tax payment. That was from the Weimar Motel.
I received a lot of calls that some of the citizens said their electricity bill jumped up a lot because of the cold front.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That is what we're seeing too. It's hard to remember those days when it's 80 degrees outside right now. But bottom line, that's basically what we attribute it to.
Okay, David.
Thanks. Public Works Department, Michael?
Good evening, everybody.
Even,
Now, as far as the electrical department is concerned and the new poles, a lot of that went to the budgeted item for the Park Drive replacement of, I believe it was 9 poles all along Park Drive in front of the VFW Hall. That has been completed, and while that crew was in town, we also had them help out with a few other locations that are problem areas that we had no means of disconnecting the power without taking out multi-block areas. So we put isolation points in those so that we can go ahead. If we need an outage, it would be a much smaller area, 1 to 2 blocks versus 10 to 12. Outside of that, our electric department is starting to become a pretty adverse in our sewer ponds. We've been using the digger trucks and the bucket trucks and everything, trying to retrieve aerators and working on things out there. We've even had a sonar crew come in this week with a boat. Boat flipped. But we are getting the wastewater treatment plant back up and running to spec. Now, as far as the water, we have had quite a few leaks going on, and the leaks that we come across, they're not on our concrete pipes, they're not on our PVC, they're on our soft metal pipes, the same ones that have been in the ground since the 50s. The fact of the matter is, their lifespan is past due, and that's what we're trying to do with the bicarbonate, is try to get any extra scale out that we can to try to prolong these a little bit longer until we can come up with capital funds to replace some of these soft metal pipes. Bicarbonate is on the way. We're just literally waiting on the approval from TCEQ, and then once that happens, E3 will be in there installing that and getting that injection pump set up, almost immediately. Then with that, we should start seeing positive results within about 2 weeks. We've also started our valve and hydrant maintenance program, mainly because every time we go in to do a water repair, we find out which isolation valves we need to use to shut off a very small area, and then almost every time that we do this, every other valve doesn't work. So now instead of doing a small 2-block area, it's 4, it's 6. It's just, you're struggling to find valves to get to that point. So we've started exercising and greasing, lubricating, everything that we've mentioned about in the last meeting. We have started our lead and copper roll sampling again. We just delivered out the bottles this week. Now, once we get those back in and we send at least 20 plus samples to the lab, we will now be, instead of doing a every 6 month schedule, we'll be back to a regular standard compliance every 3 year schedule. So this will be a non-issue going forward. Let's see. Then also, going back to a lot of the people that we have just didn't quite have any training or education or anything like that as far as water, wastewater goes on that side. So as of March 1st, we now have 2 current water operators, 3 that are preparing to test, 1 for water, 1 for wastewater, and then 1 for customer service inspector. And then we also have 2 more wastewater operators in training and 1 just waiting to test. So that's not to include my licenses. So now we've gotten everything set up that within 2 years we should start having C operators that this place will be more than capable of running itself. And on that note, we've also reduced the consultant that we've been using, the Environmental and Aquatic Services with Michael Drob. We've reduced him from his capacity of full-time, and he is now back to a part-time role as we start to completely take back over the city's operations of the water and wastewater utility. Along with that, we have another item that we'll discuss later, but we've been currently going through what's called a corrective supplemental environmental project. And it's basically part of what we've been doing for the wastewater treatment plant in the past already is going towards this, so make our contribution much smaller. Any questions so far? All right, thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.
John?
All right, so for the month of February, we had a total of 10 calls, or 10 reports that were taken. Just to kind of narrow out the ones that don't necessarily involve the police department, but animal control or whatnot. We had one burglary, we had one unattended death. They did make a DUI arrest. Couple of non-reportables. We did get a spousal abuse, and that was actually a violation of protective order. There was no physical altercation there. And we had two thefts. One of them was an attempted, and then a vehicle was broken into as well. And finally, we only had one traffic accident. In addition to that, we've also completed a couple of rather time-consuming investigations into some reports from the previous month that we were able to close out. And we also finished out our policy manual so that whenever the new chief comes in, it's ready for his review and approval. If he likes it, then it'll be published right then. But you know, everybody wants to fine-tune it to their needs, so we can adjust it at any time. And we have a new employee. Hopefully he'll be coming into work for his first day next week. We're just waiting on the final TCEQ approval on that, and his drug test results to get back, and then he'll be starting.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John.
Misty?
Mayor, Council, City of Weimer. For the library's visits, we've had 561 in March, and did better than last year and plus better than January. For audiobooks, this is on Libby online. We had 30 visits there, and on ebooks we had 61. So both good, doing good. For our circulation activity, right now in the library we're holding about 17,806 books or different materials there at the library. We have 1,809 patrons, and right now on loan we have 312 books being used. For the month of March calendar, we've already had the Weimer Book Club meeting, and we still have good standings with that. We had about 18 adults show up for that. They had picked out 3 different books for the next following 3 months. If you want to check those out, please come by the library, and I can get you on hold because I don't have very many of them. But it's very good reads. We still have the chess club on Tuesdays. Of course, this Tuesday we didn't have it because of spring break, but we did add in the Bad Guys movie with free popcorn and water, which the kids enjoyed. And then we started up with Friends of the Library. We started up the Walk Across Texas teams. Right now we have about 4 or 5 teams involved with 8 people walking. On Wednesdays, we still have the Library in Motion at 10 a.m. for anybody that wants to come and do some exercise. Definitely with the march into it. Family Story Time. We still have that at 10 a.m. on Thursdays if you want to come being involved with your little ones. And then on the 6th, we did have an herbs with Cindy Meredith, and she did a really good job on teaching us about herbs. But also do not forget that we have one on Texas Orchids program starting it would be on the 27th of March at 10 a.m. If you would like to register, please call the library. And tomorrow we're having a library arts and crafts for any age. This is a family craft bar. We're going to do some different things with Easter bunnies, the eggs, and some spring stuff. So if you'd like to be involved, come on by. Call me ahead of time just to register at the library for that too, so we don't have too many or run out of supplies. And that's about it. And don't forget about writing those poems, people. We got Poetry Month next month, and hopefully y'all can come and join us over there, out there at the gazebo. Hoping it's going to be a very pretty day because it'll be our 5th annual, so this is our 5th time doing it. So please come join us with your lawn chairs. Come just enjoy to hear it, everybody, and stuff. That would be awesome. Anything else?
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all, guys.
Billy? Billy still here? No. Billy had to leave, okay. Jim?
Evening.
Good evening.
Not a whole lot to report on the old code enforcement front. I have since the last meeting, since the ordinance on the alleys is passed, been trying to get a control on the parking in the alleys. I've handed out the ordinance, quite a few of them. People didn't know about it, so I've just handed them the ordinance, let them read it. Quite a few vehicles have moved, so we've done pretty good on that. Uptick on some animal calls, not too terrible, and it's springtime, so the grass is gonna start growing, so we'll see how that goes. Other than that, I'm just keeping on with the police department, working on the fleet, and getting that stabilized. So, that's about it. Any questions?
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim.
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 That's it for city manager and staff reports?
Okay, so item 10, presentations. Do we have anything, David?
No.
Okay. We'll move on to 11, consent agenda. All consent items are considered routine and will be acted upon by a single vote. We only have one item under consent this evening. That's any council member may request things be removed. There's only one item on there tonight, and that's the minutes of the regular meeting, February 12th, 2026. That's pages 28 through 36.
I so move.
Motion Wilson,
Second.
second Christian. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, we'll move on to new business. Item 12.1, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding approval of professional services agreement with Superior Thermal Services LLC for infrared inspection assessment of the city's electrical distribution system and water and wastewater control system. That's pages 37 through 42. David?
Michael, do you want to talk on this at all? This is something we've done for, this will be our second go-around, I believe, if not the third.
Yes, these are typical annual inspections that going through all of our telephone poles and things like that, checking for old transformers, anything that might be possibly fraying, rotting, anything like that, top side, bottom side. Basically,
So, and they do the infrared studies, this is for the infrared study?
yes.
So, yeah, and they do, okay, go ahead, keep going. All right,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
That's really all I got. I mean,
yeah, okay.
these
But
all
they
said
will, they will do the infrared on the equipment at the ponds, sewer ponds. They'll do infrared on that, and they'll do infrared on, like you said, the transformers.
Right.
And the,
all distribution
all the
lines throughout the
distribution
town.
lines.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and they did catch a bad spot at the, coming out of the substation a couple of years ago, which saved us a lot of money and a lot of downtown for the citizens of Winder.
Yes, absolutely.
So, but yeah, so this, the total cost of this contract is $19,901.70, payable in 2 equal installments of $9,950.85.
And as the city, we've been satisfied with service to date.
Michael, I think that they've been done good services for the city, and we've had meetings with them. They come in and give us meetings and things like that. Very good. Saved us a lot of trouble.
So it is an action item.
Do you know, have we, isn't this the company that comes 2 times a year? They'll come the first time, give the reference of what needs to be fixed, and they come back to verify it's been done. Are we caught up with everything they've, I guess, said from last year? Do you know?
I do not.
There would be a Derek question. I
Gotcha. Just curious
apologize.
though, just curious if it's been done or
Yeah,
not.
that would be a Derek question, but I know they have made several of the recommendations. They have completed several. Have they
Okay.
done all of them? I can't answer to that,
Gotcha.
but I can get you the information.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
I move to approve the professional services agreement with Superior Thermal Services LLC for the infrared inspection services of the city's electrical distribution system and water and wastewater control systems, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
Motion Christian,
Second.
second Roberts. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
12.2, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding approval of a professional service agreement with Burdick Consultants LLC for architectural and engineering services for the Weimer Sports Complex project. That's page 43. David?
Mayor, council, Mr. Burdette is here representing, and he brought two gentlemen with him representing Burdette Consultants LLC. He's going to do a little presentation for us regarding, this is the architecture and engineering for the sports complex. This is what this is about. And he's going to kind of explain the scope of work, what he's going to do for us as far as the architecture and engineering and designs of the sports complex. And then after that, there'll be an action item to allow me to negotiate a contract with them. So this is, the action item would just be for me to negotiate a contract with them for their services. But he's going to do a presentation now so you understand the scope of work and what they're going to be involved in. Mr. Burdette, would you like that?
Thank you, David. Thank you, Council, Mayor. Thank you for having us on the agenda tonight. I'll make this as brief as I can, but elaborate as much as you would like. We are in discussions, of course, with the city and have begun to work on a scope of services, a basic services, the scope of work for discussion in a professional services contract. Basically, when I was here a month ago, that was for the city to hear of our selection and approval of moving into those kind of discussions. And then since that time, week before last, we met with the mayor and also city manager and members of a sports complex committee, but that committee was more overreaching because it addressed community interests in park development, about connectivity, about play structures, about outdoor recreation and health and wellness, and in addition to the softball and baseball complex facilities that might be part of a first phase. And during those discussions, we heard more about some of the interest of the community and also the generous donors' interest in what was done first and how the funds would be used for that project. Basically, when we work through our scope of work, initially we will break it into different phases, and these are pretty typical for architecture or engineering or landscape architecture. We will start with master planning. We'll also do a master plan for the entire site, albeit that the entire site won't be developed in construction at first. We'll also do public engagement. We talked at that meeting at that get-together about catching people at a fair or outdoor gathering, or we're not going to be able to do the rock the block. It's a little early for us to hit that, but we'll have a couple of public input meetings, and some could be a positive event where we have families there, and we'll set up a booth where we talk to them about the things they'd like to see there. And then also maybe a more structured meeting where it's a town hall, where we show them some of the development drawings, etc. And then from that will help in, as you might remember when I was here last, I talked about requirements for Texas Parks and Wildlife to get grants, which is what you're hopeful to get would be a $750,000 match of a $1.5 million grant. And so we will be developing a hard copy book. I showed some of the books that we've developed of the process that lay out the conceptual design, the opinions of costs, the renderings of what the facilities could look like, and document the public engagement process. And those are useful in terms of spearheading some donations to the project and helping you in your Texas Parks and Wildlife efforts as well. And so that will all be part of the master planning process. And then we go into full-blown conceptual design for construction drawings, and we'll hit 30%, 60%, 90%, and those documents will be exchanged with the city for review and approval, working with not only staff, but also we'll be happy to make presentations to council as we go through those different phases, and also any stakeholders that continuing with this committee that was previously put together, we can do that as well and will. We're in the process of putting those recommendations together to the city, and we look forward to working on a professional agreement. We're ready to get going as soon as possible and expedite, because I know baseball is already in process. February started Little League practices. As we heard, the grass is growing, and it's been cut, particularly over at Hill Park. It looks a lot better than it did a month ago. It's very nice. It's already started to get groomed, and so I will point out that through David, or through Mr. Mason, we understand that the donor has asked that some of the funding be directed immediately to both Hill Park and also the Little League complex over there on West North Street, to allow for some low-hanging fruit to get improved immediately. Restrooms, concessions, maybe parking, sidewalks, whatever is necessary. And that was a very generous offer. And so what we've agreed to do, and we were here this afternoon to go to those complexes, and our Director of Design and Architecture is here, Mark Goulas, and then our Project Manager and Senior Regional Director is Landscape Architect is Dale Clark. We've gone to these facilities and started the discussion of trying to itemize those things that either can be self-performed by the city, or we can document what the probable costs of those are, and then those items that might be put out for local contractors to do some renovations on. And so we're doing that as we're in the interim period right here before we have a contract. And I'm happy to answer any questions, or if you have any architecture or landscape or baseball questions or park questions, we're happy to answer those. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Okay.
David, so this is just to initiate the contract talks, correct?
Correct.
We're not agreeing to anything?
Not agreeing to anything, just for me to initiate the contract talks, yes.
I move to allow the city manager to negotiate a contract with Burdett Consultants LLC for architectural and engineering services for the Weimer Sports Complex.
Second.
Motion, Christian, second, Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously.
Can I say
12.
something real quick?
Sure.
I know, I heard earlier a comment that we don't need sports complexes in Weimar, we need to focus on the water. Two different things. Dr. Yoder donated the land out there, and a private donor donated a sum of money to get this ball started over there. The work is gonna be done independently from the city. It's not gonna, very little will be from city workers at all. It's all gonna be contractors through the grants and the donors. So I just wanted to say that we are still focusing, it's not taking any of our effort off of the other projects, the Tavern, the water, and those type of things. That's independent, okay? So I just wanted to make that point, that's totally independent.
Thank you, David.
Thank you for giving me to say that.
Sure. So,
Thank you all for coming.
thank you, guys. We're at 12.3, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a request from the Tavern located at 211 North Mechanic Street regarding electrical services connection. David.
So, Mayor, Council, we did meet with, well, I guess I could back up and explain the situation. So, the services that were brought into the building weren't adequate for the expansion projects. Check if I'm wrong, just correct me. Weren't adequate for the expansion projects there at the Tavern. It was discussed that we would have different options, and the option that everybody started moving towards was putting a second connection on the side of the building. Well, I found out that that's not allowed by the National Electric Code, and that I'm not allowed by law to modify that code. I can go lower, but I can't make it higher, that, you know, I can't change it, go above it. So we did have a meeting this morning with the electrical contractor, the mayor, myself, some utilities employees, the fire chief, I should say. John was there. When we all sat down and tried to kind of figure out where we were and where we need to go. The city offered John, at this time, we would kind of make it whole to reimburse y'all for what you've spent on trying to put in the second connection. We'll reimburse you for that. And then Mark and John were going to look at the front. Now there's been some things revealed that it's possible that what you have there is already adequate, and maybe we just need to put a different meter or something like that. So I didn't know anything about the outcome of those discussions. But at this time, the city is willing to reimburse you for the costs that Mark did to put in that second service in the back. So that's where we are on that.
Well, I just say there's no question that the council understands what the Tavern means. Been there several times myself. Debbie can attest to that. It provides a service. It's community-wide. It serves, from what I can see, all ages now, particularly relative to what it was at one time. And that's integral to a community like Weimar. So our perspective, and just as David noted, this National Electrical Standard, the city has adopted that as its guidelines, and with that being the case, we cannot back off that. We can make it stricter. Well, we certainly don't want it any stricter, because it's the strictness what got us in the situation we're in. So we felt like the only thing that was fair to Debbie and to John and to the family that put so much into this, that we make them whole. So that the monies that they've expended toward where we are at the moment, which doesn't ultimately get us where we want to be, that we can make them whole, provide those funds to them so that we can start back at square one and then move accordingly based on what we can do and what we're allowed to do. And as David shared, there was, new information was revealed today that there was a 400 amp service there, that maybe some of that could be changed, etc. So there's every possibility, and we understand that time constraints. I mean, Debbie and John, and I can't remember your name.
Lori.
I'm sorry. I'm old, so I'm doing the best I can. That they haven't just been sitting there twiddling their thumbs. I mean, they've been making progress. Those of you who saw what it was once and what it is today, there's no comparison in those two situations. So clearly, it has been a boon to Weimar, and we want to do everything that we can possibly do to make sure that we show appreciation and understanding that we agree with that. But the best we can do at the moment is to make them whole, provide the monies that they have so that we can all start from ground zero and make this right. So that once we make those improvements, that this family that has put so much into Weimar in such a short time is honored for what they've done, and that the Tavern is what we all want it to be, which is so much more than what it has been in the past. So that is our commitment to all of you. That's what we wish as well. But we have to make sure that we follow the guidelines under which we're struggling to make sure that we do it legally. And that's all we want to do. We're all working toward the same end, and that's our commitment to you, is that we will make every effort in as short a period as time to do just that, Debbie, and John, and Lori. So, but I think there were some people who wanted to speak to that themselves, and I would like to invite you to do that, Miss Debbie.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor.
My name is Debbie Menchaca. This is Laurie Anderson. We moved here in May, made Weimar our home. We sold everything we had, left Liberty County, came here. Intention first of all was a coffee shop and a little cafe or bistro. But somebody saw the bar and wanted the bar.
That would be me.
Lori.
And wanted the bar. And so we bought the bar. We pretty much invested everything we've got in it between the renovations we've done, the improvements we've done, the painting, the just fixing so many things.
Cleaning.
Taking 3 urinals out of one bathroom that's 2 by 2 just about. And, you know, we're trying to, you know, it's a woman-owned business, 100%. Senior citizen-owned business at that. We had a birthday celebration, and we're amazed at the people that celebrated with us. About 160 people were there, with cakes, with food, with money, with gifts. It was unbelievable, because neither one of us knew a soul when we moved here. We want to make Weimar a place we like. We want to make it a place we want to live. I mean, we both moved our homes here. We bought a business here. We can't make a living on beer. I can't make a living on Cokes. We've got to be able to serve a blue plate like we originally planned and sandwiches. The electrical won't hold it. We have a residential stove, a residential oven. It's nothing commercial. We contacted the health department, DSHS, to find out what all we had to have. We found out then, I wanted to let you know, Mayor, we found out way back then that we had to put a vent in. If you have steam, if you have any vapors, it is required now. It's just something new. So we knew from the get-go. We didn't know it was going to be $20,000. So we've been getting bids, 5 of them to be exact, trying to bring something in cheaper. But we still have to meet a type 1 to satisfy the city as well as the state. Laurie and I have become members of the Lions Encore. They've taken us in. Laurie had to become a food service manager. Well, I made her do it because she's younger than me.
And I did pass, yay. I was gonna lie if I failed, but I did pass.
We went through 3 months of TABC, which was not easy.
For old folks.
And we both, Laurie comes from 30 years of insurance. I worked at the Attorney General's office 7 years. I worked for Liberty County Sheriff's Department 10 years, and I worked for the Liberty Police Department 3 years. I'm very familiar with government, very. My concern is if we can't figure the electrical out, what are we going to do when it comes to septic, sewage? What are we going to do when it comes to water? We all know the water situation. I've got to bring a pump in, a big pump, that will produce clean water that I can serve to the public with reverse osmosis for tea and coffee. I'm not going to cook with it. David, you don't cook with yours, and you're on a well. We've had this discussion. So we knew we were looking at the electrical, we knew we were looking at the sewage, we knew we were looking at water issues. We knew that. But we thought we could hurdle through these to get there. But we've moved here, and we love our people. We have never been accepted in a town the way we've been accepted here. Laurie, 66 years old, has never left Liberty County in her life. It's a big step. We came here because both of us have family in Austin. I have a son with a family in Kingsbury, right there by Seguin. She has a daughter in Austin, and then our other children live in Liberty. It's a halfway point. I want to make a reason for people to get off that Weimar exit off Interstate 10 and come have a beer, or come look at the museum, or come visit Weimar and see what we've got. This place has been a domino parlor since 1951. That's longer than I've been born.
Me too, which is hard to believe.
And I'm not changing it. We have ladies that come every Tuesday, 15 to 20 of them, and play dice. We have an old table that comes every single day at 5 o'clock. Every single
Every
day.
day.
And if we're late, they're calling us. On
And
12?
Saturday at 12. Saturday at 12, you better be there.
You better be there.
11:59.
So, and the Lions Club, they didn't have a place to pack all the bags for Christmas. We offered our back room. Come do it. You can use it anytime you want. We don't charge for that. It's a service. You know, they pick up the bar tab. They clean it up when they're finished. It's a great thing. We have people want to have wedding receptions. One of them here. And
Birthday party.
birthday parties. You know, we're not just, I have women that come in that said, I would have never come in here. We had 40 school teachers one day that said they would have never gone in there if it hadn't been women-owned. They have somewhere to go. It's a place of fellowship and fun. And I want it to be a place with food. But we'll see. You have given us a choice. And Laurie and I was not at the meeting today because we were still trying to get prices and trying to find out was this going to affect our electric bill, what it was going to do to us. We have called numerous companies. My son he's in the wastewater business, has his own business in Austin. He has a best friend that has a billion-dollar electric company, Verde Electric. I talked to him. I was waiting for him to call me back. Stan, which is going to speak in a minute, which I met through the Lions Club, wonderful people, and he retired from Harris County as the electrical engineer of 40 years. He knows what he's talking about. He's a specialist, in my opinion. We had another electrical engineer yesterday, came and looked at it with the attorney. We don't know at this point to sell it and move on, which would just about break us, or to stick with it and try to make it work. The choice y'all gave us, I guess what, pisses me off is we came to y'all 7 months ago with that choice, with a 320. It was told no. Now we're back to the 320, which is what we wanted all along. We've had electrical people from the city. We've had the previous city manager that said, hey, I need your menus. I need to know how many plates you're going to sell. I need to know when you're going to cook it, what you're going to do, blah, blah, blah. I've never in a business plan all my life seen a city say, I want your menu. Asinine. I told all of you it was going to be a blue plate during the day. You know, the mayor even made the comment, the teachers are going to buy you out every day. You know, the banks, we have calls every week. Are y'all serving food yet? Y'all got food yet? You know, no, you know. It has come to where from 7 months to yes, to no, and then to yes, and then to no, to yes again, to no, after I was told yes. And I have witnesses to that. And I have 4 customers that were in there and heard him say it, that we
Make
could
it work.
proceed. He would make it work. My electrician asked him point blank, I was standing there. So you're saying we can proceed? Yes, proceed. My husband has asked for specs, we've asked for drawings, we get nothing. Nothing.
Except-
There's got to be a better way. Just like with the water, we know we're gonna face that. Just like with a drain. We're not gonna fry nothing. We're not gonna have fryers. I don't want the grease. I don't wanna worry about disposing of it. I don't want it. We'll be using roasters, ovens, and a stove. That's it. You'll be eating meatloaf. You'll be eating chicken Alfredo. You'll be eating,
Just stew,
You
well,
know-
y'all eat stew all the time there, though, but
hamburger
Hamburger
steaks. You'll be eating with gravy and mashed potatoes. You'll get a dessert and you'll get an iced tea. It's not rocket scientist. It's a
Most-
simple,
and most of the stuff we'll cook at home, we'll put beans in a crock pot that night at home. It's no commercial stoves or ovens
which
or
we would
anything,
fall
just-
under the cottage rules. But we still need this. And I have a timeline here, I could sit and go through it, of what we were told yes and no and maybe and yes and let's go. It's a waste of time. I don't even want these people to hear it.
I'd like
Okay.
to hear it. I'm not, sorry to,
Okay?
I definitely would, please.
Okay. Okay, Tuesday of this week, my husband got a call, and it says, that we support you, but we're gonna give you another choice. Okay? A choice that we discussed in the beginning, 7 months ago, and was turned down. Then on Monday, there were text messages and emails coming out about the meeting today, that Lori and I chose not to come, because we're just not ready to say yes or no. We needed more information. I can't get all that in 2 days.
Right.
I just can't do it. Last week, we had an attorney come to talk to us. Because, again, we sold our homes, we took my husband's retirement, and we bought these houses, and we bought this place. Free and clear, that we knew we were gonna have to put money in. So, last week we had an attorney. The past weeks before that, great support from people. Great support. I cannot begin to tell you. In May, we moved here. In June, we purchased the Tavern. Last year in 2025, after the purchase, we start improvements, which we put probably $40,000 in it. To update it, the atmosphere, lighting, fans, we painted the outside, got rid of the green and the red, made it tan and black, trying to make it look better. Redone the bathrooms, we've done just about everything you can do. We wanted to keep the Old Town atmosphere, we wanted to keep the Old Town saloon, meeting place, because people walk in and see that 1890 bar, and soon as, the cameras are already going when they walk in. Everybody. So, that was last year, when we had come and said, hey, we need electricity. We want to put a kitchen in. We walled off a part of the back room. It's still open, but it's walled off to use as our kitchen. We had some old cabinets that we put in, refrigerator and freezer that we put in, a stove we had, an oven we had, everything. We did all that. When we requested the permit, that's when the last city manager said, I need your menu. I need to know how many meals. We don't know if we're going to sell 10 meals. We have no idea. How do you know that? I'd like to say we're going to sell 100 a day, but I don't know that. The city electrical, Daryl, I think it's the name. Derek, he came to look, talked to John, said, hey, I don't see a problem at all. Then we met with the city manager again, when he told us he needed more time and some more details. We had invited him in there to show him. He never came. December and January, the mayor came and welcomed us, was excited about it, looked at everything we had planned. Great idea.
And Derek was the one that said use the back.
And Derek was the one that said, let's do the back electricity. Okay, we got to get approval. Okay? We didn't do it. Okay? January, I came to council because I live here now and I need to know what's going on. And I may run for council someday. I don't know. But I was here. And Lori and I both can't come because one of us is working. So I came to a couple of them when all this electricity mess started. The night I came here, the mayor saw me, and he brought the city manager to meet me and the building permit to meet me, the guy. Right then, he told me, it's a no, you can only have one service per building. Okay? So I went home with my feelings hurt, big time. We got to have more service because we have an ice maker. We've got to have good water because I need an ice maker. I can't buy 30 bottles of water a week. I can't do it.
And they came in and said they'd make it work.
Yes. Then the city manager, well, after that night, the mayor asked the city manager and the building inspector to come talk to us the next day. We met them, and we showed the inspector everything, what we were going to do, where the equipment was, everything. And my electrician was there, that he'd been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for a permit. And he told us, I can make this work. I said, what are you saying to me? I said that myself. And he said, we can make this work. I said, you can get it through. We can get it through. Mark asked him again, are you saying go on? He said, yes. So we did it. Okay? So then,
We wait.
February, we hear nothing. We don't know if it'd been inspected. We don't know if it was approved. We didn't know anything. So 7 months later, we're in the kitchen, and we don't have a kitchen. Still no electricity. So, you know, remember I said at the beginning of this, they gave me a choice Tuesday before this meeting, which threw me a little bit because I had to really do some homework. And my husband has been trying diligently. He is very educated. He has wired 3 of our homes. My son is extremely educated. My grandson is an electrician. I'm not just speaking out of place. So the option was given us 7 months ago. But as we hear tonight, we're starting over again, if y'all didn't catch that. So today we have the meetings. We pray. We try to gather our thoughts. We try to gather the information that Laurie and I have put together. Stan comes in. We talked to him last week, and I felt like, well, let me back up. Tuesday we had another electrical engineer come to look at it. And then Stan comes in today, which is very familiar with the national codes. He's going to speak here in just a second. And I'm just saying, I don't feel like we have created a problem. I don't. But if we can't sell the electricity, How are we gonna settle the me serving food or having water? And what are you gonna do when other companies wanna come in here, other businesses wanna come in here and open a business for the people of Weimar? Give them another reason to pull off Interstate 10. You understand what I'm saying? We gotta have growth here, or Weimar's gonna drive up. It's just gonna dry up.
David, do you know, back when you said the last city manager, when you first spoke with him, so weren't we still with Safe Built at that time? Were they ever contacted?
That's who,
Yes, Safe Built's involved.
this, they're
Okay.
built.
But back then, they were involved?
They were
That was-
involved, yes,
Okay.
the city manager called them. Yeah.
So did Safe Built then say, yes, it was good? Just curious to,
No, they wouldn't issue the permit.
And Safe Built said no today, per the electrical code, that we could be stricter than the national, but we could not be less than what's expected, which is the issue that we're facing.
Laurie and I are extremely positive people. We would have never packed our bags and moved here. We were here, what, a year before. I met several people at Rock the Block, said we're thinking about buying this place, met people, went to all the businesses, talked to people. Do it, do it, do it. So I did. Or we did. We've donated to the fire department. We have donated to everybody that's come around. We have become a part of the city. All I'm asking for is a little bit of help here. And what you're offering is a good offer. Okay? I want you to understand that. I haven't said what the offer was, but it was a good offer. I wanted to know how it was going to affect my electric bill. I wanted to know what material was going to be required to do this. I wanted to know which transformers we were going to. You know, I wanted to know all that. And so, I mean, we're discouraged. We're just, you know, it's just like I put on my Facebook. We've got to decide if we want to stay or if we want to sell out. If there's no way where we can grow, we can't do it. We have become a place of fun and fellowship and family. I have a bunch of 30 and 40-year-old men that come in and said, I've been here since I was this big. They're there almost every night. They love us. I mean, never a problem. We had a semi-problem once, but I asked them to leave, and they left. But it was fine. It wasn't an issue. And our old friend in Ohio tried to start something, and I called him and told him there was nothing there. It's what I call stink eye. Somebody looked at somebody that they didn't like, and they didn't want them there. That's all it was. There was no hits, there was no words, there was nothing. They left, just as I asked. So I feel, just like Cindy and some of the others, it is a safe place. My husband is there most of the time. Laurie and I are always there together. And I certainly know how to call the police or the sheriff's department. You know, but we're so extremely disappointed because of the indecisions, the changes. Yes, no, yes, no. You know,
correct.
you can't go on like that. Not as a small business. You can't do it. There's got to be a happy medium somewhere. So we knew we had contacted health department. We knew what we were going to have. We knew how much money it was going to be. But we don't have any extra to spend. Not a dime. And we have people that said, let's do a GoFundMe. I said, absolutely not. I would be so embarrassed. I would be so ashamed. I said, I will not do that. We have tried to work with y'all. We have not hit a thing. Tried to, we want to do it, of course, as cheap as we can. And it's not going to happen overnight. The vent is going to be the last thing going in because of the cost. We found a man that has a used one, 9 foot, which is what we need. And we've already put money down on it, so he won't get rid of it. It was originally opened in 1951 as a domino parlor. I don't know if y'all know that. I actually have the original sign on the wall, George Munsey. And Musney.
We
Sorry,
don't know how to pronounce
I'm
that.
Irish. Sorry.
Yeah, we don't pronounce names.
All Irish. I'm a Shannon maiden name. And that's what we want to get back to. We want to get back to 42 and dice and Uno and Phase 10 and darts and pool and some live music and dancing for kids and adults, not just adults. We want to grow. We want visitors to come here. We want to have a reason to get off I-10. We want them to see the railroad, the museum, the churches. We want them to eat the sausage. We want them to do all these things. The historic newspaper. We want this. The chamber, she has certainly worked hard. Our first Rock the Block was the best night we ever had. It was unbelievable. And it wouldn't have happened without Rock the Block. So they were good to us, very good. Anything else? I thank you for your time. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. And I would like Stan to speak, but I do thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Stan Ranch. I've been a registered professional engineer in Texas for over 50 years. And I retired as the chief electrical engineer for Harris County after 11 years there. So I'm a patron of the bar, the Tavern, and I looked at the version adopted by Weimer, which is the 2017 National Electrical Code. So I looked at that section in the code, and it says all buildings have one service, except for a whole list of exceptions. So I went through all the exceptions that deal with very large buildings and lots of amp rating that's required for large loads and whatever. The Tavern is just basically really simple. So I looked at a section here called capacity requirements, and it says there are three sections here. One of them deals with a capacity in excess of 2,000 amps, which we obviously don't do. Then we have another exception here that says where the load requirements of a single phase installation are greater than the serving agency normally supplies through one service. Well, we have a service already installed that was approved verbally, and so it's sitting there ready to be connected to a set of transformers in the alley. The other service, the original service, comes from near the street, and that's the 200 amp service coming to the building. So there's a 400 amp that goes over to MG's. There's another 400 amp that goes to the building right across from the Tavern. And I'm not sure there's 3 or 4 services down the alley where we plan to connect. And so I'm looking at the transformers, and they're old. They have they don't have a capacity rating on the KVA rating, so I'm not really sure what's there, but the intent here is that if we need a 200 amp service for the kitchen, then we have to have a 400 amp service come from a set of transformers. Well, without being, I haven't been able to figure out what size the KVA rating of those transformers is. The city may have to help us with that, the electrical department. So what this section here is saying that if you put a 400 amp service, will it exceed the capacity of the transformers, either where down the alley or the original service coming in? Well, we don't know that. We're going to need some help to figure that out. Maybe so, maybe no. We don't know. And then the third permit, the third choice here is by special permission. Well, apparently we've had special permission, which is why the 200 amp service for the kitchen has been installed. There's a brand new panel for all the kitchen that's been revamped, ready for all the kitchen equipment. So we have to look at either, do we bring in a 400 amp service from one of these two service points, and will that mean that the city's going to have to increase the transformer size? Or as we've had special permission, that service is already installed for the kitchen. It's sitting there ready to be hooked up. So when you have two services coming to a building, the next part of the code says you have to have a sign on each disconnect, one by the street and the one back in the alley where we have. Would be a plastic laminate sign engraved, says there's another service over here. So when the firemen come and they need to shut the power off for safety during a fire, they'll know that there's a switch in the front and there's one in the back. And they know that already. They'll know that that's there. All those signs will be put up there in order to meet the code. So the frustrating part here is that we've already got a service connection ready for the kitchen equipment. The one up front just stays like it is. So in order to get the the tavern going and all the wonderful things people have said, all we got to do is connect the new service to the transformers and we're done.
Then the liability was an issue and you had.
Well, yeah. Well, there's that too. So we have here in Article 302, Construction and Technical Codes, is that the inspection or permitting of any work or plan under the electrical code shall not be construed as a warranty or representation of the safety or adequacy of the work or plan. The city and its agents, employees, servants shall not be liable for damages caused by any defect, hazardous or illegal conditions, or inadequacy in such work plan or for any failure of any component thereof. It also says the adoption of the electrical code should not be construed to relieve or lessen the responsibility of any person owning, operating, or installing electrical wires, appliances, apparatus, construction, or equipment for damages to any person injured by any defects therein, nor shall the city council, the city, its agents, or representatives assume any such liability by reason of these regulations or the inspections authorized by this code or any permits or certificates needed under this code. So in my estimation, looking at what we have in the kitchen, the hood preventing fires, and the new service with the two disconnects, clearly enumerated where they are. There seems to be no danger to firefighters, and I don't see any with the hood in there. I don't see that we have a fire danger that's any greater than any other building around town. So it looks to me like the whole problem here is simply get a permit, make the connection to the new service transformers or the existing ones up there, and we're done. Everything is installed, it's ready to go. It just simply needs a new connection, a second connection, which we have had special permission to do. And it makes sense, and it's going to be safe for everybody in the tavern and for all the buildings around here for fire safety, which is what it's really all about. So do you have any questions from anyone that I can clarify?
Why is this not going forward? Where are we at this point?
Well, I'd like to know, it's been going on for how long? And this,
Yeah.
last week was the first time I've ever heard anything about this.
7 months.
It's the first time I've heard anything about any of this, and really, I saw your Facebook post
And
first.
the 320 would take care of it. It still need a connection, because they're gonna have to come together in the 320 and be connected.
But, again, how long is that gonna take to rewire and redo?
It won't
What we-
take long.
But, but we're ready to go now. We're ready to do with what we have.
How quickly could Mark do that connection? Did he say?
We have a lot of supplies we've gotta buy. My son has them, which would save us a lot of money. The box he has. Mark's supposed to get back with us tomorrow to find out about that. But the 320, if we did put it to the back, we would move that panel that we put into the middle of the building, where you walk into the kitchen. So the run won't be as long. You know what I'm saying? It would be more evened out. But then it would still, emergency shut-offs for first responders, still have to have signs, like you said, which is not a problem. But it still would have to be hooked up to the back, where your electrician also said.
So did John and Mark open the box today and look at why it's full?
Oh, yeah.
So why is it full today? I guess I should talk to Mark.
A lot of lights, a lot of fans, a lot of coolers. We have
Yeah,
4 big coolers. We have
And
2
a walk-in.
walk-in coolers.
yeah.
They're old.
He said that all that's drawing 400 amps.
All that's on 200 amps.
Because didn't Mark say it was a 400 amp service there? Mark said it was
The
400
old
amps
service
this
was
morning.
400
The old service was 400. It's not. He misspoke.
200 amps.
Well, the problem though is that if you do a single service of 400 amps, where do you get it? Do you get it from the existing transformers out front that serve MGs in the building next door and our building? Can you get it from the transformers are there, or will you have to increase that size of the
See,
transformer?
we don't know that.
I don't know.
And then back at the back, the same
So
thing
we're
applies.
back to the back, looks like it has more power.
Well-
More usable transformers.
That,
Maybe I should say.
actually, the transformers in the alley are smaller than the ones, physically smaller than the ones out front. So can that service handle 400 amps to come into the building? See, that's the problem. And that's why,
Just need a timeline.
So in
that's
other
why
words,
there's an exception.
so really, no matter, we really can't really vote on this right now, because there's way too many questions for us
Yeah.
to answer at the moment.
And that's why I couldn't give them an answer today.
Correct.
Because there's a lot of questions.
Correct.
We gotta find out how much more electricity, how much more power, how many more materials. We gotta figure all that out.
Correct.
I just asked Stan to look at it because of his experience,
Yes, ma'am.
and he knows what he's reading.
But what's sort of frustratingly simple is, we got a service back here in the alley for the kitchen. Everything is wired up, ready to go, and all you gotta do is make a connection to the existing transformers, and we're done. Everything's safe, there's signs, there's disconnects. The fire department's gonna know all of this stuff when they come to fight up. Hopefully, we don't have a fire. But then the kitchen has a hood on it that is not really required for that simple stuff, but once again, it's about fire prevention. So, from what I can see, and it's obviously safe, it's been installed correctly, and all that we need is one connection to what we already have there in the new equipment, and we're done.
I just
The whole
wanna know
thing
we're
is
not
solved.
gonna be pushed back another 6 months.
Correct.
I would like
Well,
to
we
see
certainly
this-
have no intent on that.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do, I totally understand, and of course, I understand what you're saying. You know, we're at the point, we still need that permit, don't we, Debbie?
And we still
And
need.
you still need the
We
permit.
still need the details.
We still need the details, and of course, a lot of this came about from what I guess I visited early on, and it was a very simple, it sounded like, until all of a sudden, it's like an onion. You cover all, there's one layer, there's another layer, there's another layer, and at the
And nobody worries
And at the
about
bottom
fire
of all
than
those
the-
layers was all of a sudden, we went from a very simple situation to, we were gonna have vaporized grease in the air, which required a hood. Then you have to have fire protection, you have to have all of those things, which you're very well schooled
Any
on.
vapor.
And we are much more schooled on than we were. And nobody is trying to prevent this from coming about. It's just, what do we have to do to get that permit? And, our suggestion was 7
And I
months
like your
ago.
suggestion.
And John liked it, and evidently Debbie likes it. We just have to get that moving, get that connection, and then all of a sudden, we're cooking food and all God's children can eat.
Amen, hallelujah. What's the timeline? What kind of timeline are you talking about?
Well, what I would tell you, it could not possibly be soon enough, because we've already been
We still have
7
other
months.
hurdles to jump.
True?
We still have other hurdles.
So, Debbie knows, Stan has surveyed the situation. There are still hurdles. I can't tell you tonight that it's X days,
No, and I'm not asking you to.
but everybody's committed to the same end. And that is to get this thing operational. But the God's honest truth is, what was envisioned 7 months ago is nowhere near what's going to be operational down there. It's just not. It's not a family kitchen.
No.
When you move into a commercial building, we've left residency way behind. We have left it behind. We're in a commercial setting, and those expectations are much greater than any kind of residential
And we are well
situation.
aware of that.
Because, and Debbie knows that, so ultimately, she is trying to make her investment sound. She wants to protect herself and the people who work there. She wants to make sure that she protects anyone who comes there, because there are family members of all ages there. And so her commitment and John's commitment is to make sure that anyone who walks into that building is safe. And of course, as a city, that's certainly what we want. And I certainly heard what you were reading about the liability and all that. Set that aside. God forbid, if anything ever happened, whether we were held liable in truth, in reality, there's no way we could sit here as a council and not feel liable for what happened in that building. So we have to feel that we've done everything that we can possibly do to assure the safety of anyone who walks in there. And that's all Debbie and John and Lori want. That's it. They're trying to provide this service. We all want the service. Now all we need to do is get there.
And I
It's
need
not
you
gonna
to
be
get-
7
and I need
months.
you to get together.
Yes. So
Well,
we are committed to doing that, Debbie, and I think John believed that when he left here today. Obviously, you believe that after having spoken to John, so we're all on the same page. It just needs to get done, period. Because it really is beyond the point of ridiculous, I would say.
Well, I'm going to point out once again that there is a commercial hood in there with fire protection built into it. So that's even, yeah, we have residential appliances, yet we have a commercial hood to make it even more fire safe.
Yeah, I don't want the commercial equipment because we don't plan on cooking all day.
Right.
We plan on having fun.
And we understand that, but all of a sudden, those circumstances came into play when that was never actually envisioned. That's never what anybody had planned. We were gonna have a blue lunch special, it's no big deal, but all of a sudden it was a big deal. A bigger deal than anyone ever anticipated. And so here we are. So, what's been recommended at this point, is let's just all take a breath and let's get this thing done, because everybody wants the same thing.
Yes.
Everybody sitting at this table, absolutely, in support of that. We're with you. But it has been beyond frustrating, I would say.
Can I speak?
Mary?
Thank you, sir. I was here
Thank you.
with you 2 months ago when she got gut punched by y'all. I was with her at the tavern when she got the bad news that she was not getting approved. I don't know if y'all understand owning a small business. We get gut punched all the time. But the stress that we have put these two ladies and her husband through, I've been there, I've watched them cry. I've watched them want to punch holes in the wall. It needs to get moving. Just like Tiffany said about the food trucks. Why does everything take 7 months? Get moving on it. Like I said, these poor people have been through enough and they've done nothing but good for our town. And again, give us a timeline. Let them know it's in the works. We are moving.
And it is in the works. I do.
Not just.
Debbie's already said it's in the
Yeah,
works.
she's not gonna tell us.
Because I'm not gonna let you not put it in the
But
works.
she's gonna stay on it, and so is the rest of us. Like I said, we welcome these ladies. They've made a wonderful place for us all to gather, and I mean everyone. I haven't seen them fuss at one person. They love us all, no matter what we do. So please, like I said, get it moving, keep the ball rolling, don't drop it. And y'all now have heard about it. Y'all hold them to the fire. That is y'all's job to hold everybody to the fire and get this done.
And I do know that the mayor and the city manager, this city manager,
Not better.
is working at it. I do know that. But I'm sorry, you didn't know about all this.
No, it's,
But I haven't been going around telling people,
correct.
I
you
never
know,
heard
the
any.
Yeah,
problems
that's
that
it.
I've had.
Well, now we know, so we'll definitely, help you get there.
I
Thank you.
think there's a couple more that want to speak too.
Sure.
I just have one question, and maybe it might.
Come up to the stand, please.
Podium.
Sorry.
Share
I'm
everyone
Christina
who you are at
Behrens.
the podium, please, ma'am.
I'm Christina Behrens. I just had one question, and it might help with the timeline, I guess, in a sense. So since Dan was up here, he says the transformers, he doesn't know if it's gonna hold the 400 and stuff like that. Maybe get us a timeline to when's the transformer gonna get checked? You know what I mean? Because I feel like we have to have baby steps, and maybe being more transparent about the baby steps might help with the situation, is all I was trying to get at.
I can answer that tomorrow morning.
Okay, that's all, that's good enough. Yeah. That's all.
Make it an option.
Yeah.
We just had to get more information before we took that option.
Yeah.
And then we find out about the transformers, which she had just said, they will certainly check into that.
Yeah,
I see the incoming, I do.
yeah,
I just need to know they're all together on it.
right.
We are. We are.
So there's no action to be taken then, correct, at this
No,
moment?
sir. Unless we need a baptism, I feel like we do.
I feel like I do.
Anyone else want to bring a message? Gary, I noticed you were on there.
I think all of my questions have been answered in the discussion, and, but I do think that this has been an embarrassment to the city, and it's been a severe setback for these ladies. And, if y'all got it done tomorrow, it couldn't be too soon.
Amen. Thank you, Gary.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I would say at that point that 6 months ago would have been nice.
Yes.
but that's not where we are. We're where we are today.
Appreciate the support.
Okay.
So, anyone else? Okay, you're right, Kyle, there's
Gentleman
no
back there?
action tonight.
I'm not on the list, can I say a word?
Absolutely.
Come on, Santa.
This is our friend from the Lions Club. He is a good guy. And he's,
Know him by Santa Claus.
he is often Santa.
Well, I wish I could bear gifts tonight.
Well, you often do.
I just, from listening behind, which I couldn't hear everything, I heard the National Electric Code mentioned as the ultimate authority. But you know, right now I'm dealing with power issues at my ranch, and it's not issues at all. It's just things you do. And that is you bring in the engineer from San Bernard Electric, James Woods, you speak with him, you discuss what your amperage requirements are, you prove it, and you get a proper transformer installed, you have a service box, and it's pretty dang simple. I've been, you know, after having been in the machine shop business my entire life, I've done nothing but hook up big old machines that require lots of power.
Right.
And so this isn't rocket science, and it's laws, yes, but you have a high power coming in, dropping to a transformer, dropping down to 440 volts, 240, or 480, 240. You have the power requirements. It's all listed on about, you know, paper. It's really quite simple. How is the National Electric Code impossible to comply with? I mean, it's commercial is not any big giant rocket science deal. Residential's one requirement, commercial's another. It's pretty simple, really. And I didn't hear everything that was said by everybody, but you know, that's just looking at it from a businessman standpoint. My entire life, dealing with electric people constantly, and even today, I am having trouble getting them to give me the numbers. You know, and I keep telling them, hey, come on, man. You said you'd have it for me a week ago. Which, you know, that's typical. And but I just wanted to mention that kind of thing. It seems like it's being built up into some insurmountable problem. You know, if you need a new transformer, power company provides it at a specific cost. So that's the kind of things that I just thought I'd put in the mix.
I think some of that was the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing, and it wasn't communicated to everybody.
Well, of course, but you have service boxes. You say, well, their service box is overfull. Well, you know, you can put in sub panels legally, and there's a lot of things you can do. And of course, I really don't know the whole breakdown. I'm sorry, but I'm just talking about from a general understanding from a businessman. That's how you handle it, just step by step. National Electric Code isn't rocket science. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. Sold, all right. 12.4. Discussion, consideration, and possible action on ordinance 2026-03-12-01, amending section 1.05.104 of the Code of Ordinances regarding qualifications and residence requirements for the chief of police, providing for repealer, servability, and for effective date, pages 45 through 48. David.
Yeah, Mayor, Council, I'm just trying to look at this and trying to gather my thoughts here. In a nutshell, we're asking, we're asking to, if you would increase the residency requirements to be within 50 miles of the corporate city limits of the city of Weimar. We've gone through the application process. We've had the Texas Police Chiefs Association involved. We've had a 3-panel members from the city. interview two applicants. At this point in time, it's our feeling that the best candidate would need these provisions to be our next police chief. If I can say it, I said that right?
I think we had at least one speaker. I think Todd wanted to speak to that. Todd Jacobs. Come on up, Todd.
Hello, everybody. My name's Todd Jacobs. Everybody, for those that don't know me, I'm the police chief of police here. Here's my whole situation with this. You're wanting to change couple of things. You're wanting to change the living requirement now for one candidate. So what happened to all the other candidates that weren't within that radius that now you're going to do it for this one? What if there was somebody that was in that 50-mile radius that wanted that position but didn't apply because of what your current restriction is? Secondly, I think you're making a big mistake. You've got to have somebody that wants to be a police chief in Weimar that wants to take stake in this community and believe in this community and be part of this community. If you're going to have a police chief and tell him he can live 50 miles away, how's he supposed to respond to anything? How's he going to become a part of this community? Even though I'm not the chief anymore, I still live here. I took stake in this community. I believe in Weimar. And I believe everybody else does too. And they want a chief that's going to do the same, that's going to be there for them and going to appreciate. Things aren't going to get fixed unless you get a chief that comes in that wants to take stake in the community. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's somebody from San Antonio, Austin, Victoria, Katy. But if they really want to be Weimar's police chief, they'll move here at least to within a certain distance. If they don't want to move here within that certain distance, then they want to be a police chief. They don't want to be Weimar's chief. They're taking a job to have the job. And that's my opinion. So, that being said, council can do what they want.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
So I've had quite a few conversations with multiple for and against this whole situation. I know you're going to have that side of town that says, oh, it needs to be local. You're going to have the side of town where we need to do what's best for the city of Weimar. What people have to really consider and understand here is the county can pull tomorrow, and what do we have then?
Nothing.
We have nothing. In my opinion, we really need to make the strive to do what's best for the citizens, not so much of, hey, the guy, I actually was the lucky one to sit on that board to go through the interview process. The reason he's not ready to move to the city of Weimar right now is because he has a child, or two kids. One's a senior, one's a freshman. He said he absolutely did not want to move his kids to a new school district. He said after they graduate, it's definitely on the books to where he can move here. If he enjoys his job, he plans on moving here and actually growing with the community. He wants to be here. I think we can't just be so narrow-minded on has to live right here, has to do that. The way I look at it is we're extending the mileage from here to Columbus. Is that really that big of a deal, in my opinion? And that's what I hope other council members consider. So with that, I would,
Did anybody else make a comment? This chief, the bad thing is, what will be his response time to the city? I mean, if it's Columbus, fine. If it's Belleville, that's a 50-minute drive. That's why we want somebody local, because his response time in an emergency, he's here in 5 minutes.
if he's around. So that's the next thing I consider. What if he's off, he's on vacation?
I did work for a police chief that lived in Liberty. He was offered a terrific promotion to Tomball. He'd already retired, but it was too good to pass up. They never sold their home in Liberty. He rented an apartment in Tomball and had a shift that he had to be there during that shift. And then he had a lieutenant that he could turn it over when he wasn't there. But
And so when full staff comes about, that's kind of the same system they have here now. The lieutenant is the one that takes his job duties when he's not around, but he's always available by cell phone. If there's something major, in 40 minutes, he'll be here. And, it's just, we have to kind of do what's best for the city of Weimar, in my opinion.
How is that best for the city of Weimar?
How's it not? What if the county pulls? then what do we have?
Well, what put us here? What actions put us in this position?
Good question.
Actions of this council. And that's why we're sitting here, debating hiring somebody from 45 miles away when there have been people who have applied for the job that were local enough to where they could be here in a few minutes.
Or can live here.
Or could move here. And there is nothing wrong with making a requirement that we can have a grace period when they start off. Give them 30, 60, 90 days to move. But they have to reside in the city after that time period. Because as the former chief said, if you don't have a stake in the community, how are you going to serve the community? You're a councilman. If you lived in LaGrange, how would you be councilman in Wyman?
Couldn't.
Same thing, if you're mayor and you live in Columbus, how are you gonna be mayor of Wyman? That's not your primary concern. Your primary concern is where you live. Because that's where you sleep, that's where you eat, that's where your family goes to school, that's where your family goes to church, that's where your family shops. You have to be invested in the community to keep the interests of the community at heart. I'm not saying that you can live out of town and not be interested in the community you're serving. I'm not saying that. But you're dividing the interests of the individual who is supposed to be serving the community with their undivided attention. You're paying them to become a servant of the city of Weimar. If they are going to serve the city of Weimar, they should be in the city of Weimar as their primary residence, because that ties them to the community. That makes them responsible to the community. That makes them obligated to the community. And all those things are what's sorely lacking when you have somebody, he can be as qualified as, beyond qualified for the job. That's not the point. The point is, he's not here. And that's what you need to consider.
And that's what the citizens expect. We want our chief here, not from another town.
And I
They need to
apologize for
be
speaking out of turn.
Not fine. Tiffany?
I'm not on the list, but can I?
Sure.
That's not what I thought the citizens want. They want a chief.
So I'm gonna disagree. I work pretty close with the police department on a lot of my events. We had a police chief that was hired, that was willing to move here, and you guys ran him off. He was amazing. We need somebody, you do not have to live right in town to be invested in what's best for this town. We need the best person for the job. That's what we need. Because guess what? We've hired local, and it hasn't worked out. They've driven this place into the ground or not been the best for the job. We've seen what happens when we don't have the best person, the most qualified person. We need somebody that's enthusiastic, that's willing to come in and rebuild our police department, because it's gone downhill. And the reason Jameson left was these requirements of living in town. He wanted property, so my opinion, and working with the police, and is finding somebody that's the best for the job, that can bring awesome officers back to Weimar, and from what I've heard, this candidate, I don't know his name, but he has officers that were officers here before willing to follow him back, because right now, we don't have much of a police department left, and we need to rebuild it, and we're not gonna do that doing the same thing we've been doing. So, that's just my thoughts.
Thank you, Tiffany.
And I do want to add one more thing on that is, we did allow the city manager to hire out a board for the committee to actually find the best candidates. So I feel like the city has done everything that we possibly can do to make sure we get the correct candidate. this time go around to where he's here for years to come.
These, I think just to add to that, the two police chiefs that served on the committee said this, they support this 100%, felt like it's the best possible candidate that we could choose for this position to fit what Weimer is, what it could be, what he could make it. So these decisions, as they're discussed, are never made lightly. I can think of at least three, that totally were committed to, you absolutely have to live here, period. That just did never provide us what we needed ultimately for long-term, longevity, and the type of person that we feel like you all deserve. We deserve it. We live here. We're committed to that. Yes, sir. One more comment.
With a pool as small as this community is, how can you get a qualified police chief out of such a small community? You're gonna have to import this type of authority that has understanding of what's going on in the real world. This man we had in here from Austin was fantastic. He spoke to us at Lions Club. I mean, it was it was everything we needed. He had tremendous experience. No, he didn't live here at the time. His intent was to move here. And of course, I don't know, there's a lot went on, but that's, just putting that aside, it's just this community of 1,200 people that live in the city, if that's all you got to draw from, that's a recipe for disaster. I'm sorry, I'm opinionated about a lot of things apparently, but I understand this, that type of logic doesn't hold up. And if you have to pull from the community, you need to be able to import them and give them some sort of a grace period to get them in here. No say.
I think, yeah, can I just, I'm kind of speaking, sorry. I think that's what I've been hearing too. It's like, I think that the majority of the people want him to be able to not wait the 4 years or the 3 years to wait for his kids to graduate. They want him here sooner. But on an aspect of it also is like, he does come here and he doesn't like it, then we're starting from ground zero again. You know what I mean? Because I mean, like you mentioned, we chase people away, and I'm not trying to be, but we want him to stay, and I feel like the only way that some people think is by him staying is by moving here. And so, I think that's where you're falling, as far as that goes. Because, we...
To become part of the community.
Yeah, because, he's right. It's like, we don't have any, we already kind of did our pool. So we do have to extend it, but do we have to extend it that far? And if we extend it that far, then do we give them a grace period? Yeah. But then again, you're asking a person to do what they did, pick up and leave their livelihood to come here and don't have their insurance, or you know what I mean? So.
Well, and I understand, I've had kids, but I don't think I would want my kids to have to move in midstream.
No.
Let them graduate. Now, after one graduates, he didn't put it in stone. Did he say, I'm not moving to Weimar in 3 years? I think.
You could get an apartment here.
I think, yeah, that could.
During the week and go home on weekends.
That possibly,
There's some
that's worked
possibilities.
before, it's worked before. But I really think, and I wasn't on the committee, but I'm gonna have to say, I believe this is the guy that's best for this job. And I don't have any, it took me a long time to digest moving the police chief, not living in Weimar. I've been here for 60-something years. And it was hard for me to do that, but I know we can't find anybody in Weimar that's capable to giving our citizens the protection they need. So, I just feel that we have to do this, and I, again, think they have told us that this is the right man for the job.
I have two questions. I don't want to get into a big conversation. I have two questions. Maybe y'all can
Could you
answer.
stand up so we could hear you?
Oh, I got to roll up here.
We have to hear you.
I'm Jeremy Price. My wife used to be a police officer here, but my own question was, does anybody else other than the chief have any kind of mileage restrictions, whether it be lieutenant, sergeant, patrolman, anybody else? Just the chief? So they can work their shift and drive 2 hours and go home?
Yes.
And does the chief work a shift? Does he have designated as Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, or how's that work? Maybe Jacobs could help that. I don't know. Do y'all have a required shift? The chief? That's what I'm saying. So I don't.
Other than my regular 8 to 5, yes, I pulled night shifts when officers were sick.
Yeah, when something needs to be covered.
Somebody needed to be on vacation.
I got that. That's the reason I'm asking that. So we're being so strict on the chief. He can work the other officers, lieutenant, who has a lot of times more duties than the chief, from what I understand. He can work his shift and drive 2 hours home, and we don't have a problem with it. But we're being so strict on the chief, who also works, for the most part, a shift. You know, he can come back if he has to, but I think we're being awful strict on that.
Our community is such size that there is no such thing as a chief that sits at the desk 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. That just doesn't exist in communities.
But that was just my question, was the fact that when the other officers are done, they can go, we don't care how far they drive.
You have to be
We're being
boots
really
on the
strict on the
ground
chief.
because this is the kind of community that we live
Right.
in.
My second question was about if y'all change the mileage after the fact. I'm just curious, is that opening the city up to any kind of legal litigation as far as somebody being able to come after the city for like what he said and say, hey, I was gonna apply, but I didn't fit in the guidelines, and now y'all changed it. Y'all basically discriminated me from being able to apply. So I'm just curious if that's gonna open y'all up to any kind of legal litigation.
Well, as far as I know, we reviewed all the candidates.
That question never came
And
up.
the police chiefs brought to us the people they thought were capable of being interviewed.
But in the listing for the job, did it say you had to live within 30 miles or whatever? Did it have a mileage radius?
35?
I'm not familiar. Is Danny here? I don't know if she's still
Danny?
That's the only reason I asked, because if it was, for instance, 30 miles and somebody lives 50 miles and they said, well, I'd like to have that job, but I don't live within the radius.
35.
Okay, so it did, so.
That's all. If somebody might have wanted to apply, it may have been
And make sure that.
Well, our candidate, he applied and was outside that. I mean,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know.
Our candidate applied and he was outside that, so yeah.
Yeah, but there might have been 10 more that
Well, they
said,
should
I
have
would,
applied
but
at
damn,
this
I
time.
don't
My
live
thought.
within the range, so,
Yeah.
I
you know.
know Cal and
They
I,
couldn't apply if you said it gotta be within 30 miles, now you wanna extend.
I guess we can
it.
check.
I'm
and
not
see if they
arguing, I'm
were
just wondering if
turned
y'all
down.
left
Yeah,
yourself
I guess
open
we
for
can
some
see if
kind of
anybody was
litigation.
turned down.
That's all.
I know Cal and I have been on this journey more than once, and we've had a number of candidates that applied, that didn't, meet that expectation. And then, if they rose to the top, then as a group, you decide, well, is this person the person you want? Is it someone that should be considered?
I 100% get what you're saying. I'm just saying, does it leave y'all
No,
open
it'd
for
be
somebody to
Jeremy,
listen
that's
to?
a good point you're
Some
making.
kind of repercussions to
We will
come
ask
after
some
y'all.
questions.
Yeah, so-
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that, Jeremy.
Why is he not here?
He had it.
He's on a rodeo committee.
Okay. I mean, just to cover our tracks.
Yeah, but you can still change it and it'd still be fine, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'm gonna ask if there's anybody else, any other thing else?
Any other
Anybody else?
comments?
It looked like they're
Okay.
done with it.
I move to adopt the ordinance amending section 1.05.104 of the Code of Ordinances regarding qualifications and residency requirements for the police chief.
Second?
Motion Christian, second by Roberts. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
So we have 2 in favor, Wilson, no, so it passes. All right. 12.5, discussion, consideration, and possible action to amend the fiscal year 25-26 budget to authorize payment of a Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. That's with the TCEQ violation in the amount of $48,668 from the account number 04-514-84678. That's pages 49 to 60. David?
I'm gonna let Michael talk on this one.
Hello again, everybody. So something I briefly touched on whenever I was up here previously was the compliance supplementary environmental program that we're going through. So what that is TCEQ came down and gave us a fine of $48,000, 48 and change, for information that was collected on June 30th of 2025 for the winter of 2024 to 2025. The lab results that we were giving to a third-party lab. They came back and said that we had busted permit for multiple months for everything from suspended solids to BOD and things like that. So once I received this notice, I didn't have any expectation of, had no records from this time to be able to verify or know that this was coming. But when I first started, the first thing I started doing was renovating and getting the wastewater treatment plant back up and running to a proper spec, which is exactly what caused this in the first place. So after doing some investigation, I found that everything that I've been doing as far as having motors remanufactured to get all the aerators back up and running, all of that is part of the reasons that we were in violation. But not only that, all of that money that's been used, anything that was past June 30th, 2025, when they actually found this violation and found these records, anything that we've used to improve the wastewater treatment plant, as long as it has been put into this application to TCEQ, we're able to write that off. So what I've added into this is the newer contractor that we replaced recently. We put half of their salary into it from everything that they've been paid since August, which is when they started. So that right there is going to cover a little over $17,000 so far year to date up to through February, because that's only half of his salary for water and wastewater. Now, on top of that, we have no end date on this SCP, so any payments going forward to him, we can write off half of that for the wastewater treatment, and every month that will continue to go, as well as all the remanufactured motors and everything that's going on with that. So really what we're looking at, what I came up with today was just shy of $25,000 that's already been spent since August that can be completely written off of that $48,000.
So go against that 48,000
Absolutely.
plus.
So what I'm asking for, I build this whole SCP as a maximum of $60,500. That way to allow for some leeway of quotes and everything to make sure that we hit our 48 plus. So with that, what I've suggested doing and what I included in this SCP is to replace the flow meters and totalizers at the wastewater treatment plant. And the quotes that I got back from that were actually much lower than anticipated, much lower than the last time I've done it. So with that, one of the things that we were busted on for was dissolved oxygen levels and pH levels. So with that, I'm currently working with engineers to get basically sensors, stationary sensors for each of our 3 wastewater lagoons, where those would be constantly reading, where all we have to do is basically go out and clean the probes on them every other day, something like that. And then it will have a continuous read and continuous watch, and we can put alarms and things like that onto those to help us better catch when things start changing in the wastewater plant. Because with a lagoon system, there is no lever that you can go pull and wait for an hour and see some magic result. It takes a very long time for it to happen. So with these kind of numbers and these kind of sensors, it would put us in a position where we wouldn't go through this again. And with that, what I'm asking is for up to an additional $20,000 to complete this project with the 1 DO and pH meter for each pond, and the installation of that, as well as the flow meter and totalizer. So that's what we're asking for. But anticipated, I've put in the budget for up to $20,000. I'm anticipating to come in between 15 and 19.
And let me back up a little bit. The reason we got this deficiency was the third-party contractor that we hired was not doing his job. He was not filing the reports like he was supposed to. He was not sharing the information with us. We terminated services with him. We hired the new third-party contractor. He's been doing a great job. So that was one thing. We also reduced the people dumping into our sewer ponds, the septic waste and things like that. We just have 1 or 2 small ones that are dumping, very minimal, which is very manageable. So those 2 things contributed to our improving the situation moving forward, along with Michael's changes he's done.
Yes.
So we do have $50,000 in the budget already. We've allocated for sewer improvements. So at this point, I don't believe we need to do any budget amendments at this time. So we're covered for now. If Michael desires to do some improvements later on, we might have to come back and ask for something that comes up later on. But right now, under this one, we're covered right now.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Thank you for the great work you did. A
Yes.
lot of great
So we
work.
have
Thank you.
Thank you.
50,000 in addition to the 17,000 that Michael's already expended.
Sorry, the 17,000 was just for the contractor salary.
It is
So,
different,
so
yeah.
far, year to date, we've done a little over 11,500 for the aerator motors, and we still have two more that are being remanufactured at roughly $1,100 to $1,500 a piece. So estimated, and
Thank you,
sorry,
ladies.
additional $3,000 onto that. So that's where I came up with the 24 to 28 range of what we've spent so far and what we will spend with these last two motors coming back. And then everything else would be what we're adding to the wastewater treatment plant, and then anything else, if the quotes come in lower or anything like that, where we don't meet that 48.8, then we'll use every continuing month of environmental and aquatic solutions, or services, sorry, his salary going towards that to finalize and make it up to 48.8.
And Michael, what's the window on the SEP?
There is no window. We did not enter a end date onto it.
Oh, okay. Good.
And so far it
We
hasn't.
can do
been
this
that.
over several years, a couple of years.
No, this would be a couple of months kind of thing.
Couple of months
This-
they
Yeah,
need it.
this is
Okay.
a small thing, so
Okay,
this would
good.
be a couple of months, and then we get this out of the way, get into compliance, put it in the rearview mirror.
Okay, sounds good.
And you're comfortable if we don't take any action tonight, we'll be fine?
Yes, sir, and I'll handle it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
The third party person that was doing the paperwork for us,
Mm-hmm.
you said we fired him, when did we fire him?
I'm sorry?
When did we fire them?
I believe it was November, no?
July.
July.
Michael Job has been here since August of 2025.
But there's no way we can go
July.
after him?
And that's why I didn't mention any names tonight. So,
I said there's no way why we can go
yes,
after him?
that, there is a possibility we can do that.
Okay,
There
Our
is a
city attorney
possibility.
is looking into that,
good.
because Weimer evidently was not the only one that was caught up in that sort of situation. So there, I think it's more of a, it's not just Weimer looking at pursuing that particular entity.
Good,
And Mr. Dawson is aware of that situation.
all right.
Thank you for asking that.
Okay, so we're on 12.6. Discussion, consideration, and possible action on resolution number 2026-0312-01, designating authorized signatories for contractual documents required for requesting funds under the Texas General Land Office Community Development Block Grant Mitigation, CDBG-MIT Resilient Communities Program, contract number 23-160-152-F582. That's pages 61 through 64. David.
Maria, do you want to take this one?
Yes, this is the grant that we're needing our signatures to be able to proceed and do the process.
And those signatories would be whom?
Would be Mayor, David, and myself.
Okay. So the city manager, the mayor, and the city secretary.
Yes. Yes.
And that is an action item.
Yes.
Well, I move to adopt resolution number 2026-0312-01, designating authorized signatures for documents required under the Texas General Land Office CDBG-MIT Resilient Committees Program, contract number 23-160-152-F582, with signatures being Maria, the city secretary, the mayor, and the city manager.
So motion Roberts,
Second.
second Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. On to 12.7, discussion, consideration, and possible action on ordinance 2026-03-12-02, amending ordinance number 02-2025 as amended by ordinance number 12-2025 relating to the regulation of mobile food units. That's 12.7,
And, yeah,
and I think we have some speakers on that. Well, Tiffany spoke earlier.
Yes.
Gary, would you come up and speak to that?
Yes. It's sitting too long, sorry.
Gary Chernock, Chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Just to address what this is about here, I just wanted to, we're working on getting something into the zoning ordinance to accommodate this, and I think I brought that up at the last meeting, that it, and Bo agreed with me that we do have to have it in the zoning ordinance. And to some comments that were made earlier about this being delayed for a couple of years. This has never come to planning and zoning until within the last 6 weeks. This was never presented to us. So I understand, the existing ordinance is a city ordinance, but as far as locating these things in restricting location of these food trucks and et cetera, that falls into the zoning. And so we have to get something written up to handle that, and we're working on it now. And we'll try to get it out as quickly as possible. But again, it's not something that has been dumped in our lap and been sitting there for 2 years. It was not something we were even aware of until recently. So we're trying to get something worked out as quickly as possible.
Gary, you guys, P&Z, are you looking at hoping to meet sometime next week?
Going to have a little preliminary meeting with David sometime next week to kind of work out some language and some ideas. We've had one brief meeting earlier this week just to talk about this a little bit, and that's, I think, where this has gotten kind of put on the back burner because the language that was in there actually, well, let's just say it was incomplete. And so it needs to be, we don't want to put something half-baked out there that has to come back and be amended, and then you'd have to deal with grandfathered entities, and then you end up with two different groups of food truck permits. One that's been grandfathered in because the rules were this, and then the next group follows these rules, and then it just makes a bigger mess for everybody. So I understand the urgency of the owners want to get this thing going and all that, but it's not in the best interest of the city to, again, like I say, do it half-baked. So we're going to we're looking at ordinances in some of the surrounding communities and the way they've been applied, and the rules and regulations that go with them, and try to adopt and work into our ordinance that which is appropriate, and then try to cover any peculiarities that are strictly our own. So it's not being ignored. So I just wanted to pass that on.
I appreciate that, because I couldn't imagine that it would be. Any other comments, Gary?
I think that unless somebody has a question about it, but I mean, I don't have anything further on it at this time. But we're going to schedule a meeting with the entire zoning board, and we plan to start going through the zoning ordinance, the whole ordinance. But we need to have a meeting with the zoning board to discuss this once we got some language worked out.
Very
So and then forward it to city council for approval.
Very good. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tiffany, I know that you spoke earlier, but you signed up to speak.
Yeah, I would like
At
to,
this
after
point.
that, I would like to speak again.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
So I know nothing happens overnight with the city. There is a process. Unfortunately, this process for this family started over 6 months ago. And I know we've had turnover. It started with the last city manager that promised them. They've invested $400,000. My first week on my job, when I took that executive director position, I had a food truck at a farmer's market, and it was an issue, and I was told by the city manager then, we know this is an issue and it needs to be done, but there's been fire after fire after fire, and there's been bigger things. This lady that was here tonight that is invested in this property, that was promised certain things by, not you, I know you were just given this job and everything's been thrown on you, and it's like one hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing, because I spoke to Kyle, I've reached out, he didn't know anything about this. So now it's been put in a urgent situation, because tonight was the night she told me she's selling the lot and she's leaving Weimer because she feels like she's gotten the runaround. And I know you guys have been put in a situation where it's become urgent, because we can't lose this. This is not just a food truck. This family has bought 2 commercial properties and they want to buy a third. They want to open numerous businesses here, and they have great ideas. So I get, like, you just started working on this 6 weeks ago. You got thrown into this, but we don't have to recreate the wheel here. LaGrange, Columbus, they all have zoning stuff, they all have ordinance. I was able to pull them in 10 minutes, and I sent David and I sent the mayor copies. It doesn't take long, and I'm willing to sit down. We need a meeting. We don't like this about Columbus. We like this about LaGrange. Let's write it and get it in a special council, because they are this close. They've gotten a runaround, and not from you, not from the city in general, because they are kind of the ones breaking ground, but we can't lose them. We have to make this happen fast, and I'm willing. I know other people are willing. I know Amy's talked to you, the economic board. We're all willing to sit down and have a meeting, but it can't be something that, oh, we'll meet this week and that. I had to talk her off a ledge. Don't sell it. Give us a couple of weeks. People care. We want them here. We have to grow, but we can't lose these businesses. We have to do anything we can to make this happen yesterday. And I know we don't want to cut corners or have to come back and revisit this 50 times, but we also don't have to recreate the wheel. Weimer's a small town. It's not hard to put an ordinance and policy, in place to get the ball rolling and get them here and whatnot. So, like I said, I'm willing to help in any way I can, but this lady, they're on the verge of leaving, so we have to act fast to keep them, because unfortunately the last city manager dropped the ball. Council didn't know what was going on, and the ball's been dropped, and we have to fix it because of other people's errors and not taking care of this sooner for them, so.
All right, once again, I think everybody understands the urgency. I believe Kyle even had a conversation with Ms. Blossick explaining that it's not a problem to call a special meeting. That's just not an issue.
Correct.
We just need to make sure that we have everything in place, and Gary is working on that piece.
And just all changes to the zoning, they have to come from zoning according to the rules. They have to come from planning and zoning to city council.
That's right.
It doesn't mean that input can't come from elsewhere, but it just that we have to formulate it and put it to y'all for y'all's consideration.
So I will say one of our chamber board members is on the zoning and planning committee. She heard me talk earlier tonight. She had no idea about the the food truck, she said she sent out an email.
We haven't, like I said, we weren't even made aware that this was, on the verge of happening until about 6 weeks ago. But it still wasn't presented to us as something that we needed to deal with.
So she did, so my point to that was, she said she sent out an email tonight to the whole zoning committee to call a meeting like soon so we can keep this ball rolling for these people and show them we're getting this done. So,
Maybe by the time all that comes through, it'll be time for the tavern, get something figured out for them, and knock them both out.
I think everybody's committed to that, there's no question of that. Okay, so 12.7 is an action item? Do you have something else?
I asked that you take no action, we're not ready for
Okay.
that. As
Correct.
Gary said, that it's
So we're
it's
pulling it, we're
incomplete.
not-
It's
incomplete?
incomplete, and in the future, we'll have something ready to
Very
present
good.
to you again. Thank
So
you.
no action tonight.
I have a question regarding that before, if you don't mind. My only question is, there is a, okay, there's that K-Dubs, that's a food truck. He has a sign out there, right? And he posted it on Facebook that he's gonna be cooking for, Friday or Saturday and Sunday. What's kind of, I guess, the difference?
so the K-Dubs
Yeah.
is right now forced to move his truck every so many days. He cannot be a permanent food truck there.
Okay,
So we're trying to get it where
it's gonna be
you can
permanent.
apply, but you have to meet this requirement, maintain a certain whatnot, so there's gonna be rules, but it can be more permanent. I'm sorry,
That's good, that's great, thank you.
I deal a lot with food trucks.
That's just what I was gonna say.
Okay, that's why I was just kind of wondering, because I know he's at his house now and he's gonna be moving it back.
Right.
Gotcha.
We've extended that so he can cook for 3 days.
And then,
Yeah, just so he can leave it there during the time he has to cook to prepare for Saturday and then again for Sunday. So, yeah, we tried to accommodate that.
It's not a permanent placement, that's the difference. All right, 12.8, discussion, consideration, and possible action on purchase of a Bobcat skid steer with attachments in an amount not to exceed $84,878. David?
Mayor, council, we had Bobcat of Houston come, I believe it was Wednesday, and do a demonstration for us. Actually, it was Tuesday, to do a demonstration, and the utility crews all felt it was an excellent machine. I think I sent you all videos, and we have budgeted $100,000 for this piece of equipment. The sales agreement, the quote came in at $84,878. So I ask you to approve the purchase of the Bobcat skid steer with attachments in the amount not to exceed $84,878.
Michael, question for you. You do feel that this will work on the curbs and everything, getting all the gravel and all that good stuff, so often, or what are your thoughts on that? Just making sure.
So I will say this, there's one attachment that we have not been included in, well, my apologies, 2 attachments that were not included in the demo. Things that were a little bit harder to source in the time frame.
Correct.
They gave us the street sweeper, but we do not have the gutter brush yet. So I have not had the opportunity to see that work.
Okay.
And the other attachment for the same unit is the water, basically dust abatement kit.
Gotcha.
Just something to spray down the dust and keep it at minimum. But so far, using the actual sweeper, just around the shop, going through the shop, I've seen comparable models, older models from John Deere and things like that, knowing good and well that they are not good for street sweeping.
Correct.
They're better off picking up loose gravel and things like that from chip and seals, and that's a very common thing. And yes, that absolutely picks up any loose gravel and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I can't say, because I haven't seen it really, is gonna be the gutters.
Correct.
But also, something to consider, our forklift has been on its last leg since I started, and I've done everything possible not to drop any money into it. And this came with pallet forks as well as the typical construction bucket you see on a skid steer. So this is actually gonna work out for, well, at least 3 different jobs for us. It's gonna replace our broken down skid steer, it's gonna get us a street sweeper, and then now it's gonna give us a smaller construction maneuverable vehicle, something better than, say, our large backhoe or our very small bucketed mini excavator to handle some of these street repairs, patches, things like that, covering up water lines, sewer lines, et cetera.
Gotcha.
And we're working on deals where, at no cost to the city probably, most likely, we would be able to get a device that, what do you call it? Mulcher, is that correct?
Yes.
To get the yoke ponds and things like that. So right now we have to rent them elsewhere, and I think the golf course had to contract someone to come in. So we're working on a deal to get that attachment too. So there's multiple attachments that you can buy for this unit.
Any other questions for me?
And that model is big enough to handle that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure
No, that's a
before
good
you get
model.
it and then it's,
Yeah, no,
you know,
that's
not big enough.
That's a good model that we got.
Okay.
Well, I will move to approve the purchase of the Bobcat skid steer with attachments in an amount not to exceed $84,878.
Second.
Motion Roberts, second Christian. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
When will they take delivery of that, do you know?
Well, the unit they brought over for demo is
It's
the
here.
unit we're gonna get. It's kinda like you go to buy a new vehicle.
Correct.
And they say take it home for the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We've already got it here.
oh, so we'll see it run the curb lines very soon, huh?
I'll sign the paperwork.
Good.
Very good. So we'll move to item 13, discussion 13.1, city manager's statement concerning the proposed hiring of the City of Weimar Finance Director. David?
Yeah, Mayor, Council, I prepared this memo, and it's been posted on our website, it's been posted on Facebook, but I thought it'd be important to read it to everybody else. This is regarding the situation we are in regarding the hiring of a finance director and his relationship to two of the city council members. So I'll just read it. The HR director and I were unaware of the familial relationship between Kurt Scordino, Rex Clazel, and the applicant for finance director when I offered him the position. Mayor Tucker texted me late Friday, February 27th, which I did not read until Saturday morning, questioning this person's familial relationship. On Saturday at 7:41 p.m., I texted Kurt to find out how he and the applicant were related. He called me on Sunday around 1:30 p.m. to explain they are first cousins. In the meantime, I texted the HR director to ask if there was an issue with Kurt and Rex being related to the applicant. She asked how they were related. I explained that I was checking with Kurt, but at that point I had not had a response from him. The HR director offered to text the applicant to determine their actual relationship. The applicant then offered that he is first cousins to both Rex and Kurt, but he hadn't realized that this would be a problem. I reached out to the city attorney Sunday evening when I came into the office and composed an email explaining the situation. I explained to Mr. Dawson that the applicant had not started nor been given an oath of office, and he was a week out from a potential start date. At this point, now that the relationships have been revealed to us, I rescinded the offer to the applicant. I also reached out to the Texas Municipal League's legal team. They stated that the first cousin relationship with a council member was not prohibited under state nepotism laws, but the city of Weimar had adopted stricter nepotism guidelines. On March 5th, 2026, Kurt Scordino and Rex Clazel turned in their resignations from their city council positions. The city's job application only asked, "Do any of your friends or relatives work here?" We have changed that to read, "Are you related to any elected official or current employee?" Prior to offering the position to the applicant, I had not discussed the applicant's application or his employment with the mayor, city council, or the city attorney. This was truly an unfortunate chain of events that led us to where we are today. Neither the applicant nor the council members knew what our personnel policy stated about nepotism. The HR director and I were not familiar with the relationship the applicant had with the council members. I still believe that the applicant is the best candidate for the finance director position. He grew up in Weimar and is raising his children here and has a strong financial background. He has full support from many people in our community. I apologize that this all happened, and I will make sure that every precaution will be made so this doesn't happen again in the future. Sincerely, David Mason, City Manager.
Very good, thank you. Before we move to future agenda items, John Kelly, could you step in here? Just taking a quick point of privilege. Obviously, we're in search for the best possible police chief. And on behalf of John and his officers who are serving us now every day, putting their lives on the line, I didn't want there to be any belief that the city council in any way would disparage you and your officer's service or malign you in any way. So, there was discussion about we want the very best, but you guys serve us every day in every way, meet the need, and I wanted that publicly stated. I don't want you guys to think that we don't respect you and the work that you're doing every single day of this week, every hour of it. And that was certainly not the intent with any comments that were made in this room tonight. While I'm not sure it would have taken that way, but we appreciate you, and
Yes.
we want you to know that.
Thank you. We support you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
That's great, thanks.
So with that, we'll move to any future agenda items that you guys, ladies, gentlemen, need for, my gosh, I
let's
can't
just-
believe it's gonna be the April meeting. Wow.
No, but let's please move forward with these two things.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
So we will certainly make it our mission to get these things done. Announcements. Hey, the announcements. Weimer's Rock the Block event, March 27th. They've been great up to now. I'm sure this will be even better. Thank you, Tiffany, for those things. Weimer's Texas Independence Relay event, March 27 and 28. That shred event, I believe, has been moved to the 18th. So that'll be the 18th, 2026. And the city spring cleanup event, April the 25th. And I believe that's why the shred event was moved to the 18th. There was some conflict there. So with that,
I
Becky.
make a motion, we adjourn.
thank you, Lord.
Thanks to everybody that came